some updates that are affecting our search results, and using some plugins, working with our developing team to kind of figure it out and troubleshoot. But it leaves me to questioning the sustainability of a system like WordPress and if it's going to continue to be updated as frequently as it is. We use a managed host, a managed server for it, and as great as everything's been and it continues to be, the level of investment we need to make to maintain the code base and the integrity of the site has been increasingly more complex as time has gone on. The root of the framework is not holding up over time. Now maybe it's just us, or maybe it's just me, or maybe it's my development team. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if any other users are experiencing this. But it seems to be increasingly more frustrating lately, given the amount of updates that happen around the core and plugins and all that. And you definitely need a full-time team dedicated to this stuff. You need to dump a lot of resources into this if you're going to be active on a website. And our client is very active. They post a lot of content. They integrate with a lot of different features and functionality, and they use it a lot for marketing and business operations. So it's a full-fledged tool for them. It's not just a static website, so it's definitely dynamic, and we leverage the community the best we can. So I don't know, that's just my kind of thoughts for the day on the sustainability of WordPress and the ecosystem and the need for custom development and making sure the brand controls are in play too. So, because there's a lot of breakage and the brand suffers when there's breakage. So, my thoughts kind of wander there and randomly there. My kids are home all day, so I've also been kind of struggling with that balance of working from home and doing what I have to do from a business standpoint. I had a couple of calls already today. We're working on releasing a campaign for a mobile app that will allow users to order for our client right through the app, as well as receive rewards for their orders. Pretty cool feature for the client. They're really stoked to roll it out. They have a couple hundred locations across the US, and it's pretty exciting for us. It's one of the biggest app rollouts that we'll have, and it's nice to have that under our belt. Putting a nice little social campaign out around it, leveraging in-store, and looking at some other digital capabilities around that. Could be really fun. Definitely open to looking at different ways to enhance the app's presence within the App Store. Capability we want to look at increasing ourselves. And I'm also looking at some voice features around how can we enhance the brand's presence around interacting with different voices and skills. So, we want to be exploring Alexa skills for this particular client, as well as, the other voice providers and what we could do there. So it'll be really fun times for this for the next few months as we research and dive into those different avenues and getting the message across. Talking about kind of a thought I was having last night in bed, because everybody always asks me what I do and what marketing is, and everybody trusts marketing inadvertently complicates itself using buzzwords and jargon and all the different tactics and tools that we get involved with. And marketing is very tactical when you think about it day to day. But when you think about it holistically and from a big picture standpoint, marketing is nothing more than just communicating an idea to a specific audience, or communicating a specific message about a product or a service to a specific audience. And there's any number of ways that you could do that. And there's any number of ways for you to reach somebody. So it's important to look at all of those. Different agencies and different people have different capabilities around that. So I try to, I tend to now think of myself more in the communications field than marketing at all, because the more and more, we progress and the more we evolve, the more important that, that communication is. And we don't need to overcomplicate it at all. So there are very complex topics out there. But from a marketing standpoint, you could leave most of the complexity out of it, especially if you're looking at the discovery phase of the buyer journey, or the user journey, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it. when you're introducing people to your brand, who gives a shit, right? It's important. And for us, simplicity is key in communications, especially when you're when you're in the awareness funnel. So another cool project I have on my desk right now is we're working on a e-commerce subscription product for a $1 billion CPG company that historically does not sell any products online. It is a awesome innovation concept that we had about 8 months ago. We pitched it to this organization and they bought it, and now we're building it out. And so I have the UX deck on my desk right now to go through and work through those wireframes in the process, and then tie the front end to the back end, from how not only we're going to design it, but we're going to work with their development team to integrate it into the system and the architecture that they already have. So it definitely takes advantage of my full skill set and understanding how we integrate analytics and tracking and social media into a simple e-commerce site, and as well as a simple subscription e-commerce site. It also ties my love of big brands into my everyday, and it's definitely a big project, a fun project, a lot of different people involved. I'm looking forward to rolling this one out and sharing it with with the world, putting it on my LinkedIn profile. That should be a big win for us. We hope to roll it out by the end of the year, as long as the company can get the logistics side of it set up, from the warehousing and the fulfillment. So they've spent the last few months working on product fulfillment to be able to handle the direct-to-consumer method that we're putting in play. They are not currently set up to do something like that. So if you order one product from this company, chances are they cannot deliver one product to you. They could deliver a whole lot of product to a retailer and get that retailer a whole lot of products, so where you could buy one product. But there's definitely not an avenue for you to buy that one product from somebody. And there's a huge opportunity for us as an agency to that CPG company, because we could flex some muscle with the capabilities of the agency. So from not just the e-commerce and the subscription side, but from a customer acquisition, modeling, integration of analytics, studying analytics, doing monthly reporting, looking at different media channels and integrations with partners to help amplify the message. Maybe do a retailer tie-in down the road to amplify an existing relationship with one of their key retailers, to get the people to buy the product in store, and then they're subscribed online to finish the process. So cool things like that. And then again, obviously I'm big on voice, and how can we integrate voice not just into the marketing mix, but into the actual product itself. How can we set up their Amazon store and their Amazon channel to be better equipped to handle a fulfillment order of a replacement piece or part without giving too much away. So there's a lot of great things that we could do there, and it's an exciting time to be in marketing from this angle, because you have to be able to see all the different opportunities at once and not just wait for somebody to say, hey, can you do this, versus, hey, why don't you do this, which is a big part of my philosophy and how I've been able to grow my business personally and with the agency. So exciting things to come there across the board, which gets us back to kind of my struggle of the day with WordPress and the reliancy that we have as an agency on the WordPress ecosystem. And the big brand that's building a subscription site, they're not on a system like WordPress, and they have similar limitations. So we can't customize certain things because of their framework. They're very heavily invested in .NET, and they have a whole lot of products, and they have a very specific architecture to the way they set things up, and the way things process through their different channels, and tie back to their ERP. So it's an important thing that we have to take into account, when we're designing and building the site. So it's something that I would say a lot of smaller agencies tend to overlook, or a lot of people who don't necessarily have the technical background tend to overlook. So you want to make sure you're talking to the right people too, because I know when we get to that level, some of my skill set starts to wear thin, and I need to bring in some other resources that have some really deep ERP chops that know how to do some of these different tie-ins. Because I know them on a top line level what's supposed to happen, but sometimes when you get into those more detailed APIs or calls and webhooks that marketing loves to kind of work with, it gets complex fast. And so, like I said at the beginning, I want to simplify everything as possible. I love this idea of simple complexity, simplifying as much as we can across the board, and streamlining as much as we can. That's why marketing is amazing. We got a lot to do, which is fun. It's an exciting time in a small agency. Can't say that enough. Looking forward to diving into this deck a little bit and diving into some of these papers. As boring as that might sound to some people. I'm excited for my kids to jump through the ceiling right now and get this taken care of by landing on this video camera and shutting everything down. But I don't foresee that happening either, which is also a good thing. Still figuring out this video thing. Still figuring out what I want this to be, what I want this to look like, and how I want to come across. But I think I'm slowly starting to figure it out. Maybe the next episode might be a little bit better, a little bit more buttoned up, a little bit tighter. I'll probably talk a little bit about SEO the next time. I want to talk about voice in SEO and the future there, as I think there's big things that could be done, and there's a lot of things that current SEO providers should be looking at, and you should be asking your SEO providers. And I'm also going to start talking more about brands, because I love brands. I love all brands. I love what brands can do. I love how brands look. I love how brands make you feel. I love everything about how brands can influence culture, how they can set trends, how they can help you stand apart. Not so much the stereotypical cliche piece of that, but the creating of an icon, if you will. There's just something so amazing in what a brand can do, and how a brand can push the envelope, and how a brand can make way more than a product. A big piece of why I love being at Milk, and what I guess keeps me there, is our philosophy on that organic, fundamental human truth, and how all communications come from that truth within a brand. And a brand is more than how you make it. It's more than why you make it. And it's a combination of those things plus how that brand makes you feel. Because if a brand can make you feel something, that's special. And that's the one hook that keeps you going, keeps you